The villain of this episode was crazy. He was like a samurai android, like a samuroid. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, guys. Welcome to Chris is Talking, and this is the first of my Flash videos, and this is for season 4, episode 1. And I loved season 3, season 2, season 1. I was literally just like super hooked. I binge watched the hell out of this series, and I'm so happy that it is back. And oh my god, it was good. Oh my god, was it good. Now, before I start, if you're new to my channel, I do anime reviews, manga reviews, and a few other comic booky kind of stuff like that as well. What would be classed as nerdy. So if you see anything that you may be interested in, please do subscribe and return for regular videos. Now, what I want to start with was the quality of just the quality of this episode. Before we even go into some of the plot points that happen in this episode with the whole Barry Allen returning and the Speed Force prison and all this kind of shit, what I wanted to talk about was how visually epic it was. Now, was it because it was episode 1? Yeah, I'm just going to say yeah. But will it continue? I really hope so. The quality that they had in this episode reminded me of the quality that happened at the end of season 3 with the whole Savitar stuff. When Savitar, Barry, and Jesse Quick were literally chasing after Savitar, and they were kind of sliding underneath trees and all that kind of shit. They kept that quality throughout this whole episode, and that was like a season finale. So they pretty much had a season finale quality for the season premiere. Now that does kind of make sense now I think about it, but you know what, I'm just going to accept it how it is. I freaking loved it, and I really hope that that quality kind of stays through it. And personally, I think it may dip a little bit, but I think that the quality will stick around because the Flash ratings went through the roof last year, especially through with season 3, and so many more people have been jumping on the Flash bandwagon, and I'm super gassed that it is back. So the quality of it looked mwah. The music as well was actually really nice as well. I know it's really weird talking about the music of it, but I feel like the Flash has its own kind of opening, not just the opening song, but the kind of the music that plays in the background, that melody that plays in the background is kind of like, oh, nice. Or like when Barry's about to do something super cool and then that music plays in the background, or when some ominous shit is happening as well. So the music in this stood out to me as well. And I don't know, I don't know if people even talk about the music, but I really feel like, I don't know, that CW do well with their music. I'm just gonna give you that. But what we really want to talk about was what actually happened in this episode. Now, I'm not gonna go through what exactly happened because that's 45 minutes. I don't want to make this video too long. I literally want to talk about the good points, the bad points, what I think should be fixed, and how I think this will continue. So first, I really want to talk about the beginning and how Team Kid Flash were coping. Alright, it's not Team Kid Flash, but damn, Wally really wanted it to be Team Kid Flash. I mean, he dropped that so many times. But yeah, so turns out that Team Kid Flash were kind of taking over for the Flash, and apparently 1 in every 3 villains was actually breaking out. So even though they managed to kind of capture the villains, they weren't able to really secure them. Having only 1 speedster really did affect them, especially when the speedster was Barry Allen. Because he was literally the best one. Yes, he made a lot of mistakes. Yes, he fucked up. But in the first act of this episode, we really got to see how they were coping, if they were coping, and how it really affected the whole transition and what's going on throughout this whole 6 months. Oh, sorry, I got a message just there. What's not surprising is that Iris was the one who was affected the most. Yes, she was going to get married to him, and it was kind of like, I get it, you're affected, I understand that you would be upset, and I tried to empathize with her so much, but boy, did she really get on my last nerve. Like, she wasn't even trying to listen, and I understand that she feels like she needs to be in control, and we got to see how she was in like the main base, and she was the one controlling people, telling them where to go and stuff like that. So I thought that was pretty cool, because now they all have a role in this, and Joe is a very active member of Team Kid Flash, so I can't say without laughing, which was also really nice as well. But I didn't like how she was being bossy, and I actually did like it when Cisco was telling her to shut the hell up, because she was like, well, what's your problem? I get you're upset, but what's your problem? I feel like Cisco is the voice of the audience most of the time, so I thought that was pretty nice as well. The rest of the others were kind of coping okay. They weren't like super upset, but they weren't super happy. They were aware of what was going on, and every time every time there's a subject matter about Barry or about the Flash, you could could sense that it kind of went up and down a little bit. So that was something that I thought that was pretty interesting. So that was pretty much in the first act. By the end of the first act is when we got the villain of this episode, which was a samurai, like a robot flying samurai. Now, I haven't read all the Flash comics or hardly any of them. I've kind of watched the cartoons quite a lot. So I was thinking to myself, do I want to read the Flash stories? But I decided for this series, I'm not going to, because I kind of want to just go into it kind of blind, not knowing the villains, the abilities, the powers, and all that kind of stuff, and just to kind of just go in there just to be surprised with every villain. And this samurai guy, he was able to handle his own against Wally, and I was like, oh, okay, so is this super fast? Like, what is going on with the speedsters? That's also something that kind of bothers me just a little bit with the series, is somehow the speedsters can always be dealt with, even though, and I don't mean with like tricks and stuff, but I mean like speeds of punching and stuff. I'm like, I don't think you're as fast as a speedster. But yeah, so this android samurai guy pretty much handles everyone and says, bring me the Flash or I'm going to level the city. And as always, it's kind of like, oh shit. Now Cisco's like, you know what, let's get the Flash. Iris is like, you can't bring back the Flash. And I'm like, all right, Iris. But she's not like she even tried to bloody listen. She didn't even try to listen. She just straight up shut Cisco down. Cisco was like, I'm cool, I'm gonna go get a coffee. Cisco goes to go get Killer Frost, aka Caitlin Snow. Caitlin Snow, is that her name? Caitlin Snow? I know it's Caitlin, but anyways. So Cisco goes to go get Caitlin, and they talk, blah, blah. Caitlin joins them, and they go to go get the Flash, which is in the second kind of act of this episode. And we see Caitlin, Joe, Cisco, and Wally literally using a Speed Force bazooka to try and bring Barry back, and they use some science to explain as to why the Speed Force won't implode or explode or cause a whole bunch of manic to the whole city. It fails. They feel like shit. Iris appears out of nowhere. I'm like, what the hell, Iris? What are you doing here? So yeah, so the middle part of it was pretty much showing that it didn't fail and that Barry did come back, but Barry's lost his mind in a weird kind of way. He's drawing a whole bunch of these symbols, triangles, squares with dots in the middle, and they spend most of the middle section trying to decipher that, trying to figure out what is wrong with Barry. Is he trying to give out messages? And Cisco actually ends up deciphering the whole messages, and it just says the house is bitching. So it turns out Barry was crazy. But what was interesting was it wasn't like Barry was crazy. It was like he was actually super healthy. His mind was actually intact, so they weren't able to figure out what was going on. But something Caitlin said was really interesting. Caitlin actually said for us he was gone for 6 months, but for him it could have been 10,000 years. And if that's true, he would have lost his mind. He honestly would have lost his mind. But it was I don't know, something about it was kind of nice seeing Barry in that kind of form, because normally he's very goofy, but it was kind of, I don't know, I actually did like seeing Barry like that. But when Barry came back, when he ended up saving Iris But when he ended up saving Iris from the samurai and all of that kind of stuff, you would have thought Iris would have been a bit more happy, but she still seems very distant from him. And then the last scene in the last act, and the police, some police sirens go off, and then Iris and Barry, they're kind of kissing and whatnot. They kind of go back to the house, and it's all nice, it's all quaint. I'm like, oh, this is cute. And then Barry has to go. She's looking at him like, huh. I'm like, yo, like, why are you so hesitant? So I feel like this is a way for the writers to tell us or to show us that Barry isn't really back, or that there's something that we don't know about Barry just yet. And this could be, I don't know, you could say that this is amplified, especially at the very end when we get to see the villain, who, because of all the videos out there, I know that the villain is the thinker, and he did say, I need to think. So I thought, hey, he said it. He said, I need to think, because he's a thinker. And the right side, I'm like, oh, you can't see anything. You're behind a comic today. So dude. But yeah, so like that was pretty. I don't know. How to explain this? There's loads of loose ends out there. It's like nothing was really answered. Barry came back. Barry got his mind back, but we don't know why Barry got his mind back. Caitlin, she's back, but it turns out that Caitlin isn't really Caitlin. She's still battling her whole thing with Killer Frost and everything. So I was like, Alright, well, we did get an answer about Julian. Turns out Julian's gone back to London. I don't know whether that's because the studio or CW can't afford to pay that actor, but I don't know, hopefully he does come back, because I actually did liking Julian by the end, even if he was hella bloody annoying. But yeah, so whole bunch of things going on left, right and centre. So this was pretty much like an exposition episode. An episode pretty much showing us what's happened, how Team Kid Flash have been coping and what they're trying to do, and just getting Barry back. So Barry's back. Was crazy for a while. He's not crazy at the end, but there's something going on. The Thinker was a person who created the Samuroid. Oh, that, you know what? Can we just be super, like, can we just love Cisco for a second? Like, literally, Cisco, he's always coming out with these crazy names. Since season 1, he's been a person naming these villains. I freaking love it. But yeah, what did you think of this episode? Did you enjoy it? And can we just, before I go, the opening scene, Wally West jumping on the bloody like buildings trying to catch that first villain. I was like, oi, that was looking super fire. And I seen Barry Allen bloody running after Iris on top of the bloody android samurai. I was like, oi. So visually appealing, really loved that. The plot, we're going somewhere. I like that we got the villain at the very end, so there was a bit of plot progression, which was pretty cool. The visuals were amazing, the music was on point. Few loose ends here and there, but it is episode 1 for season 4, so let's not get a bit too angsty and wanting to be spoon-fed every single thing about this series. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Let me know what your thoughts on this episode, on this review. Like, comment down below, and if you're new to my channel, please do subscribe for future Flash videos. Have a great day. Chris is talking. Peace. Oh, you can't see this shit. Peace.